Hello and welcome to Family Matters. Today we bring you a very special edition of Family Matters. And today we are going to bring you real stories of real people living behind this bus. People with families like you and me. Hello and welcome to Family Matters, a program designed to look into and solve problems affecting families.
I've been here since 2000. I was brought here being convicted of robbery with violence, of which something which I did not do. When I came here, I stayed in remand for 3 years before I was convicted. When I was convicted, I was sentenced to suffer death. I stayed in Kodem for more than 5 years. Until 2009, when our President Kibaki commuted the death sentence to life sentence. So all those years I've been here, and I've experienced a lot of things which are happening here in prison. When I came here, I was not saved. I stayed for almost 3 years. Then I accepted Jesus to be my personal savior.
I've been here since 2005. It was on May. On the 13th is when I was arrested. So I was coming from my place of work, heading to where I was staying. So I came across people who were just by the road, and I didn't know what they were doing there. So when I reached there, I just said, here is one of them. It was a mob. So some criminals had just robbed and they'd fled. So by mistake, I was the one who was mistakenly arrested there. So since then, I've been here.
I was brought here because of robbery with violence. That was way back in 2004, September. Okay, I was a businessman. I used to deal with the timber. Well, as I've told you that I used to deal with the timber, so it happened that one time I happened to buy some timbers to my customer, and little did I know that there were some people actually who knew that this customer had left some cash. So when I left the customer and I ferried my timber to Nairobi, is when some evil men came and robbed the complainer or my customer, and then I was implicated with the case.
Well, it's just another time that we have also another inmate that we're going to speak to this time.
And I came to prison in the year 2002. That is when I was arrested. And since then, I've been in prison. Surely I've gone through all the court processes because I was charged for murder. And I've gone through the court processes, and right now I'm serving a life sentence, having been convicted to death. That was in the year 2005, and which was confirmed by the highest court by that time, that is the Kenya Court of Appeal, in the year 2006. And therefore, since the year 2006 up to the year 2009, I was in the gallows waiting for my execution. But I thank God, because when I was in the gallows awaiting my execution, that is in Condemnway, that's when I met the Lord Jesus Christ. Daily life was very difficult, but I thank God that since the moment I came to know God and I got saved, well, I can say that it has been worthwhile to be in this place since that particular time. Well, to be pressed as there before I knew God, let me say I was very bitter to the society because of the kind of atrocities that I considered to have been committed to me and my family. Because I'm not a criminal myself, but due to circumstances, I just found myself in prison because it pertains to a certain kind of a land that is an ancestral family land, whereby due to problems in the family, that is when my mother and my father started to have some problems, it was really difficult for us as kids. And having been the second-born son in the family, and actually having been the person who all the other family members were looking upon, so I had to chip in, because formerly I was working I'm an accountant by profession, and I had to chip in. So when I started chipping in the family matters, I found myself embroiled now in the issue of the land itself. And therefore, for about 2 years, I found myself in and out of the court corridors as we trying to argue out the case. Because really what happened, this matter had been brought about by the kind of corruption that was rampant during that particular time, because this land was fraudulently sold to a third party now. And therefore just found that the family is being evicted out of the family, and therefore we had to try to chip in and see what was actually going on. So this is what resulted actually later on to a fight involving one of the buyers of the land and now the family. That's how I found myself in prison.
The next guest that we are going to feature on Family Matters today is someone well known to many Kenyans. His story hit the headlines some time back, a few years ago. And he is one person that many people really would like to know what goes through his mind, or what was in his mind when he committed all the things that he did.
Actually, I don't need a long introduction. Many people know me, and actually many people know about me.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk about the person that you're seeing right now, the me, the now. And actually, when I came here, when I came into prison, I was not the same person that I am, because I've gone through, I can call it a phase, and I can say that kind of like I was in a bigger prison, being that I never knew myself, and I was imprisoned in my mind. But fortunately, when I came to prison, I came to find my freedom. So that's when I knew about me, because all those years is like, to me, because now I'm 33 years old, it's like I've been in prison for 32 years. The most important person in my life was me, and I never knew that person.
Onyancha said something nice, that in my past is gone. My future is yet to come. I'm not that person I was then, I'm a new person. And that shows us that we have the power to change our destiny. Our past is not what should hold us back to who we should become. We should trust in ourselves and know our potential to create a future that we want.
So it's like I was carried away with a lot of things, and actually I'm glad that I came to prison, and that's where I made a lot of discoveries about myself, who I was, who I am, and what really and why things that happened in my life. And actually, there is when I came here, in fact, it reached a point I could say that even though I'm in prison, even right now, I can say, even though I'm in prison, actually the prison is not in me. And my mind is now free. It's only I'm held in a place, but not mentally.
Na nilikuja hapa 2000. Nilikuja kwa wizi wa kutumia mabavu. Ni kweli nilikuwa nimetenda. Nikiwa hapa Nairobi kidogo kazi ileta shida, na nikakutana na marafiki ambao wako wazuri. Basi wakanishauri ushauri ambao kwa mzuri, nikaingiliana na wizi. Na nilipoiba kaendelea hivyo, nikaja nikashikwa. Mwaka 2000 nikaletwa hapa.
It can happen to anybody. And that's why, you know, at different phases of life, issues that come up, it's not that something you wake up and do it, no. You must have acquired it when you were young. You must have acquired it along the way.
Maana licha ya kuwa nilitoka kwenda kutafuta labda riziki, ama nikifikiria naingia katika uhalifu ndio natafuta riziki, lakini haikuwa katika njia ambayo ni nzuri ama ya mapenzi ya Mungu. Kwa hivyo nilikuja nikagundua ya kwamba kuna mambo mengine nilikuwa nafanya kidogo, nilikuwa naharibu uhusiano wangu na mke wangu. Licha ya kwamba tuliishi na yeye akavumilia na hako kwa boma mpaka saa hizi, lakini kidogo mimi nilimkosea. Maana hata kuingia katika uhalifu nilimwachia watoto ambao mimi nastahili niwe pale nje nikiwahudumia, lakini amewalea single-handedly kufika mahali ambapo nimefika?
In fact, my upbringing, I was brought up in a very conducive environment. I was brought up by both my parents, my father and my mom. Actually, I can call it, I was a penultimate kid to them, because I was kind of like the last born to them, because I was really loved by them. So the way I was brought up in a society that was mixed up. People from various cultural backgrounds, tribes. I can call it, I won't call it a cosmopolitan, but it was kind of like mixed up. So most of my friends were from a very different family backgrounds. Some were from single mothers, some were from broken families, divorced, separated. So those are the kind of friends I grew with. So it's like whatever was happening to them, kind of like I was able to maybe to affect me. Because you know, when somebody's hurt, you hurt another person, because hurt people. Because with those kind of experiences, were like whatever affected them, really in a way affected me without my knowledge. Yeah, in fact, actually, people do point fingers in the wrong direction. I came to realize that mostly when you came in, there is a place there, I think you saw a mirror. I think that mirror was put there for a purpose, because there is a place I read, if you want to know the person responsible for all your problems, just go to a mirror and look. That's the guy who is responsible for all your problems.
Self-awareness is the beginning of a purposeful life. Without self-awareness, you cannot lead a purposeful life.
I think that mirror was put there for a purpose. It's not that you can look yourself, you are smart. No. For us, in fact, inmates, most of the things that brought us here are the things of our own making. So it's like I can't blame my mom, I can't blame my dad, I can't blame anybody. It's me. Where do I begin? What really happened? So it's like first I had to forgive myself and say, okay, now we need to do some surgery, a little bit of surgery, go deeper. Even though it will hurt, we have to go deeper, because if you have to treat a wound, you have to go deeper than the surface. Yeah, what's the root cause of everything? So that really helped me a lot. I was able to go deeper and actually extract those roots. And it was painful. It was painful to go actually and face yourself and the real truth, because many people are running away from the truth. People don't want to face the truth. That's what hindering people to maybe discover why things happen. There are some things you can't even keep quiet about, because when something good happens to you, you like everybody to. It's like good news. You just don't hold up good news. And I really like sharing about my experience to help the other person, maybe who is in a place that maybe is going through something, maybe is going through a phase that will end up in a place he'll ask himself or herself, maybe, what really happened? If I could interject with maybe my testimony, if at all, right now, because it's something in me and I can't hide it. I'm glad I'm in prison, because had I not come here, I could have missed the most important person in my life, me. Because there's a place I read about, there is a magazine when I was out, and it asked this question: could you give us the most richest place on earth? And I was like, oh, maybe Central Bank, places like those. But you know, he came to say the most richest place on earth is the graveyard. Why? Yeah, people die without knowing their potential. They die, you know. You were born an original, you die a photocopy. Why? People don't know that they have intrinsic value in them.
Spiritual life, they say, is like a compass. It is what gives direction to human life. And until you get your spiritual life right, then it is very difficult or even impossible for you to understand where you come from, where you are at right now, and where you are going. In the case of Onyancha, he was able to find his spiritual life. And that's why today he can speak as a different person, forgetting about his past and living in the present, knowing that his future is already secured.
What comes out of my life, that's how people tend to understand people, is through their experiences, is apart from their experiences. Because the real person is inside of you really climb. Because there's one time I came here, in fact, it's like many people were running away from me. It's like I was the scariest person around. But to me, I was even looking at them and saying, what makes you think even running away from me? If I had that ability, I could have been the first person to run away from me, because I was scared of myself. Because it's like I was two in one. The other part of me was pulling me this way, the other part of me was pulling me that way. So it's like, it was just kind of like a struggle, and I was like, what is happening to me? It's only that I wasn't able to maybe separate myself. So that's when I came to understand, after all this, we human beings, we are tripartite. We are three in one. I'm a spirit, I have a soul, and I live inside a body. So that's when I came to understand, oh, kumbe these things this was my flesh pulling myself toward this part, and this was my spirit pulling toward this side. So these things don't work together. They normally counter each other.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution.
What the flesh wants to do, the spirit doesn't. What the spirit wants to do, the flesh doesn't want. So that is kind of a struggle, maybe. Many people, when I came to know about that, actually, I was able now to separate the three and know.
You're sounding like when you're outside there, you are not sober. But now you can find yourself, now you are sober. Yeah. So what can we do to those people who are not yet known themselves?
I don't know if they could come, or they could all come here in prison. Because
It's a one question,
actually, it's a good question, but